stand tall, I don't tuck my tail. Swear I'm hard as nails. Oh, they judge because my skin is pale. Like I ain't working scale. Bro, I'm raw just like the work. Used to numb the pain with perks. I was popping shit like candy, now I pop off in a verse. See my brothers turn to demons like they.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Extreme Lifestyle Living Podcast. Now, today, what I want to go in on is the topic on standing your ground. Now, this is going to hit home for a lot of different people in a lot of different ways because I'm honestly going to give you a ton of different examples of what I mean by standing your ground. But primarily, the biggest thing that I mean, and I want you to understand, the biggest takeaway I want you to get out of this episode is standing your ground is staying true to your word, your vision, yourself, your life, and being integral to that. And the reason why that's going to hit home for a lot of different people on different avenues is because we're all chasing different things in our life. You know, we're all trying to elevate our life. That's the one commonality we all have together for sure, is we're all pulling on the same rope to get better each and every single day. However, standing your ground is going to have to be on every front of every goal of every avenue of your life. Whether it's a relationship goal, you know, you want better standards, higher boundaries, you know, better interpersonal relationship with friends, and you want your friend group just to hold each other to a higher standard. You guys don't want to, let's say, for an easy example, be doing drugs every weekend. You guys don't want to be drinking all the time. You guys don't want to be degrading your guys' lives or not doing something that's fulfilling, you know, like, because like a bit, again, like misery loves company. So like, is it a relationship goal that you're going for? You're going to have to stand your ground. People aren't going to necessarily understand where you want to take your life with these things, right? If you're trying to get different avenues with that, especially if you're in a relationship and whether it's new or you've been in there for a couple of years or a long time, like, you know, if you have new boundaries you're going for, you're going to have to stand your ground when those get pressed. Same with when you're going for a new fitness goal. If you're trying to gain weight, lose weight, become a better person in the mirror, like whatever that avenue or whatever that vision is for you, like there's going to be times where people around you and yourself included are going to be pressed. You know, you're going to be pressed about, like, you know, someone's going to not take your time serious and be like, yo, like, just don't go to the gym this day because of X. You're going to have to decide, do I disappoint that person or do I disappoint myself? You know, especially with like your career goals as well, right? Like they get like some fields are competitive, right? Are you ready to be competitive with other people and competitive with yourself to not fold under any stressors or any obstacles because it's you versus them, right? And you got to stand your ground or whatever it is. And the reason why I'm saying this is because it's so much easier said than done, standing your ground. But I want to paint a very, very, very vivid analogy and picture for you here. And Lynn, a lot of you guys know, if you guys have been here for a minute and you guys are like, you know, follow my social medias and hear me say this before, but I always say, like, you have to do things you've never done in order to get things you've never had, you know. And let's say 1 out of every 10 people, so let's say, think of yourself as you're listening to this and think of 9 other people around you, only 1 out of 10 people are ever going to actually go out and get it. You know, the 1 out of every 10 people are only going to be willing to embrace what has to be done in order to get things they've never had by doing things they've never done. So when you think of that, right, you out of every other 9 people, you have to stand your ground. You are the only person out of every 10 people that are actually willing to embrace things, to do things they've never done, to get things they've never had. So you got to understand that, because if 9 other people that you walk by could be your best friends, could be your family, it could literally be someone you talk to every single day in passing at work or at the gym or through a day-to-day routine. These people are always going to say, yes, I understand what you're saying, because you're both human. You're both trying to get better, right? We're all trying to get better as individuals. But remember, they're not really truly going to understand when you speak certain things of your vision, the heights, the ambitions. They just don't see it. They don't understand it because they just don't do it. Yet, whether it's they don't believe in themselves, we're not talking about that. We're talking about you standing your ground. So in those moments, you have to have the confidence within yourself to know that you are the one amongst the masses, the anomaly, the black sheep, if you will, you know, that is standing tall. So do not fold to anyone else challenging your visions. Do not fold to anyone trying to muddy the waters, if you will. Because when you do things you've never done to get to areas in your life that you've never been, it's hard. It's not easy. That's why that's why the other 9 out of 10 people are not willing to jump on the horse and fucking ride this type of life, because the waters are so muddy. It's uncomfortable. It's unbearing. It's hard. You question your abilities. It's like, on one hand, you're literally questioning, why the fuck am I doing this? And on the other side, you're trying to understand what you're going through. And you don't need 9 other people out of every 10 to tell you why you shouldn't be doing it, because they simply don't understand them. So this entire year, you need to stand your ground. And the reason why I say do things you've never done to get things you've never had, then to paint that vivid picture, is because right now, as I record this episode, I'm in the process of meeting with a couple finance teams and trying to, by the end of this year, I would like to have several accounts opened to take care of my family. And the reason I have that as a goal is because, I grew up poor. I grew up with limited resources. Money was always the topic of conversation. When I was 8 years old, I remember my grandmother getting on her knees and like holding my hands and being like, "Yo, I just want to let you know." Well, obviously she didn't say "yo" because she's a grandmother, but I remember her being like, I remember me being so young, and I was like maybe like 8 or 9 at the time, not knowing what the fuck she was talking about, but really just seeing how much she cared about that moment. But our apartment buildings were bought out by another company, and the rent went up $50. And the rent went up $50. Well, guess how much internet was? Was about $50. So back in that time, like, so that would have been 21 years ago on average, or 20 years ago around that. And like, she was holding my hands, being like, "Yo, I just want to let you know," like, again, she didn't say "yo," that's just my interpretation of the situation. But she's like, "Rent's going up $50. That's going to take away for 2-3 months of, the internet." So I remember like being such scarce mindset with these things. So for me to have the ability to hopefully, and it's not a hopefully because I'm in the position to do it, I'm already having the meetings, to have accounts set up and be able to like, potentially take care of all these different people, my nieces and my nephews, when they get older, I can take care of them, and my kids as well, and my family. Like, it means a lot to me. Now, the reason why I'm painting that picture so clear is because if you asked me to do that last year, it was still a goal, but it was harder. It was harder to even believe in it because no one around me understood what I was trying to say. Because everyone wants to put money away for their kids. Everyone wants to be debt free. Everyone wants to do all these different things, right? But like, is everyone actually embracing the things that they need to embrace to get this level of success? And I knew I was, right? So I had to stand my ground. If I did not stand my ground last year, especially 2 years ago, especially 3 and 4 years ago, especially fucking 5 when I was in the thick of it, in the middle of the clubs, 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning, high as fuck on coke, standing my ground and saying, "No, I don't want to do this anymore," I would not be sitting here being asked, "How am I doing it?" And that's why I want you guys to understand why it's so important to stand by your goals and stand your ground, is because you don't know what you're capable of until you start to materialize it on your own fucking soil, and that's what I did. So standing your ground for everything that does not pertain to you getting the growth in the areas that you want is why it's important to know why it's important to why you're doing what you're doing. So to honestly end off on this, because I feel like this is a short and powerful one with standing tall, is at a drop of a dime, I want you guys to be able to go through a fucking wall of why you guys are chasing your goals, And for me, it's fulfillment. It's always fulfillment and joy. I grew up with a very toxic environment growing up, when we all did on our own scale in some degree, but mine was just a little bit worse than others in some scenarios. So I don't care about money. I don't care about anything besides time being filled with joyful peace and abundance moments being fulfilled, and that's all that matters. And I'm going to bleed that into everyone around me, bleed it into my family. But I would not be in the position I am to give that back to everybody in my circle and everyone around me, and potentially for the legacies of my family, the generations to come, if I did not stand my fucking ground. And it's so crazy because even going through the injuries that I've been through, like in trying to rehab my left trap, rehab my pelvic floor, rehab my rhomboid, rehab my right rotator cuff, rehab my right hand, rehab my left pec, all of these different things. Like, if I listened to every single person that like just didn't do the work, that wanted to do the work but just didn't do it, and I didn't stand my ground, sit there 10 toes down, chin up, chest out, and say what I wanted to do and what I believe was capable of, I would not be sitting here having the life that I am today. And that's why it's important for you this entire fucking year to stand tall, tell every single person, I don't care who they are around you, to go fuck themselves. Because it always starts off with like, why are you doing this? But then it always ends off with like, how did you do it? And you deserve to be in that position this time next year of getting asked, how did you do it? But also being able to look in the mirror and know that you fucking did it yourself by standing your ground. And want to know what's even more beautiful about that is, as you build momentum and standing your ground more, you get momentum, and it's a multiplier effect. It goes 1 times, 2 times, 3 times, 6 times, 12 times, 24 times, 48 times, 100 times. And you start to get so much momentum that you end up lapping people, and you really that all bleeds into self-worth, self-compassion, self-love, confidence. And you're going to look at yourself in the mirror this time next year and be so fucking confident, so fucking thrilled at you and proud of yourself for standing tall and just going after what you wanted, regardless of what everyone else feels. Because remember, 1 out of every 10 people feels as we do in terms of changing our lives. 9 out of 10 are the ones that say from the outside looking in that they understand, but they're not really willing to put in that work. So if you know you're putting in that work, you know you're staying true to your word and you have good intentions and you want to build a fucking fruitful, joyful, abundant, fulfilled life, then stand your fucking ground. Make 2024 the year that you really turn every page to that avenue that you want it to be. And let's see this time next year where we end. Let's fucking go.
I stand tall.